I hope OB comes back. I wanted to hear what he was going to say.
Yeah, me too. I can't believe it disconnected.
That was like very inopportune. How are you, Mr. Two Extra? By the way, nice
Oh,
to meet you.
same here, same here. I'm
I like
fine.
the beard, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. A few people
I
like it,
used
a
to
few
rock
people don't.
a King Tut when I was in med school. I had like a King Tut for a while. Don't ask me why I did it, but you know, it probably had to do with a girl.
Hmm.
We're not getting back on, man.
Have some faith, Randy.
Yeah, yeah. I was enjoying what he was saying too. I always like knowledge, and he was very knowledgeable. What he was talking about. I don't know how I got here. I was doing a broadcast with someone else, and they
I
had
clicked
two.
on invite you, and then you came here, and you probably clicked it.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
invited you, but I was trying not to talk over Raj too much.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to say I invited you, but I guess you didn't hear it. But
So
anyway, you
Obi's
made
in
it
the
up there.
chat. Okay, Obi, you can come back. You can come back up. There should be a join button. If you don't see one in the if you're on the app, if you go to the Haps app and go to lives, go live, you should see Randy's live, and you can click on that and come back up that way if you're on the app and not on the computer.
Man, we only got like what 30 seconds left, and then we're out, huh?
Oh, how come?
Because you got a 2 minute limit. If you don't go back in the broadcast within two
Oh
minutes, it times out.
no, I want to
I
hear.
didn't know that.
I feel like I'm on a cliffhanger.
I do too. Hey, OB, what's up? We're all stuck. We don't know what's going on.
That was the weirdest thing. Yeah, it just went totally blank on me. I don't know what happened.
For
Should we
all of us,
restart the layout server too? Then maybe I don't know.
Raj, I'm going to make you. I'm going to put Raj down as a director to fix it, and I have to go to the men's room real quick while he tries to fix it.
Okay, all right. Let
Okay,
me give this a
Raj,
shot.
you are now a director. Can you fix this for us?
I'm
I've
gonna
got
try. I'm gonna try,
to.
guys.
Okay, I've got to go to the restroom real quick.
Okay,
Don't go
no
away,
worries.
Mr. Extra, Mr. Richardson.
Okay, guys.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna restart the program layout, and we'll just see if that helps fix this. So we're just getting dropped down for a second here. Oh, come on, Haps. We apologize, guys. If you're in the chat, can you just type a 1 to let us know if you can hear us still? I hope you can. Fingers crossed. Come on, Haps. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, so you can hear us. All right. So, I mean, while we're doing this, Obi, do you mind like finishing your thought? Because I got to say, I was really interested in hearing what you had to say before you got cut off.
Um, so I think it was something about the Hindu faith and this idea of one supreme being. I've read extensively from the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, Katha Upanishads, and all the sacred text. And what we have is like just various manifestations or incarnations: Ganesha, Shiva, Lakshmi, and all of these various gods who aren't like lesser gods, but they're univocal with the different names, but is essentially the same source.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to get this going here. So, guys, I've actually fixed it for once. So that was amazing. Hey, we're back. Look at that, guys. All right.
Okay.
It only took resetting the. If anybody ever wants some tips or tech tips on Haps or to do audio and things like that on Haps, you can always hit me up.
What's all
Some
right?
of the
Let me
stuff that
see.
I enjoy.
For $99 a month, right?
No, I do it for free. I do it for free because we're
You're
out
out again?
again. Oh no! I really hope. I think we're back. It seems like we're back. I think I got it back.
I think so.
So Randy, my solution was resetting the graphics server and then, resetting the layout server and then resetting the graphics server, and then that seemed to
Okay.
do the trick.
What's up, Jeeves? How are you?
Be back. Okay.
Oh, we back. Okay. So Obi kind of just finished on his thought, which was pretty interesting. He's done a lot of extensive reading on it.
Yeah,
So I guess
basically.
Mike.
Go-
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, once you you was talking about the Bible, and the Church of the West teaches that the Spirit of God, the Baruch, is only in human beings, and this is where we allow our tradition to take precedence over what actually what the Bible actually says, because the same word that's used to animate human beings is the same word that's used to animate trees and pets and flowers. It's the identical Hebrew word, but for some reason, we want to put humans above everything else, and I mean that could be pushed out in many different directions, and the human superiority complex. We can destroy Mother Earth and all that because it's not part of us. So it works its way out in a lot of different ways.
I just wanted to.
Theogen is upon us.
Yeah. So I wanted to say something to Tina Thorne because she has an interesting. She's like, I love this subject, but I say rebuke Satan. He is stopped. Is period and then LOL. So I the idea of Satan is actually kind of an interesting one to me because in Hinduism we talk about like a duality, because everything's very cyclical, right? So there's like a you have like how they say in Western time they'll say like you're better angels and demons and what have you, and that there's like an Eastern philosophy you'll talk about like yin and yang and things like that. And I found it interesting because like I read a few articles on this, and then recently was in the news again, which was that the idea of Satan actually in the original Hebrew doesn't exist. Um, so the original idea of the devil is actually something that came in more modern Christianity than in the actual Abrahamic religions, which I always kind of found kind of interesting. It's something I still need to delve more into to understand better. But essentially, like they say, it was a change in the translation that led to the creation of like what we call Satan today. So
Well,
that's just something of interest.
It's the word ha-satan, and ha-satan is not a proper noun. It's a descriptive word, and it means a deceiver. And in John chapter 8, Jesus was calling other human beings who were acting out of character of their value system. He was calling them ha-satan, the deceivers. So not because you have this hoofed, horned creature who is leading you one way, but it's because you have succumbed to your own carnality and your rugged individualism. You cannot look beyond your own self to see the needs of others. And so Hasatan, you can look at any commentary, any field of academia that is not rooted in fundamentalism, and they'll tell you quite clearly that it's not a proper noun for this particular being. It's just not.
I
Go ahead,
I'm just gonna say
Mr.
that
X.
I prefer the name that I heard the Muslims call him Shaitan. Shaitan, I believe it is the whisper. I believe
Oh,
that's more what he does. He whisper things into you. He has no real power. He whisper thoughts into you, and you react on the way that he whisper or what he whisper, and the way people actually is. Like if someone's acting shady, and he said, "Well, you know they're acting shady because of this," then you start looking at that person and you start thinking that, and then you react because of their actions and what he says that they're saying in your mind or what you think they're saying. So I always, I mean, the devil, Satan, I mean, that's the name that we grew up with, but I
Sure.
really, I really gravitate to the word shaitan, that he whispered. He has no real power. And when you start looking at biblical, they say that the devil only have power that you give him. You know, he can't make you do anything. He can only suggest that you do things. And our suggestions is where people go wrong, and that's where people act on their suggestions and because of their circumstances.
Very
I
well
mean,
put.
Yeah, I
you know,
definitely agree with that because I feel like the devil of like I don't know of recent years or whatever you want to call it like is more a fear based thing than a like, oh, the devil's going to get you, like you need to pray, you need to do this, and faith out of fear. And I don't think that faith out of fear works. I think faith out of love works, but I don't think faith out of fear works because um, who in their right mind wants to
Miss
uh,
Anonymous, welcome.
be
Well, I
like
always had the
to
thought that
have
a forced religion was no religion at all, and it had to come from the heart to begin with. Now, who
agreed.
guides you in a direction of your theology and the way you practice, or the faith that comes upon you to guide your life in a better way towards humanity with the hope and ending of an everlasting life with the Creator, is kind of, it just has so many ways people think. And I don't see one can be bad over the other. I don't see that you can't, we can say one person's belief is not good because ours is one way. Like I say, at the end of the
Yeah,
day, I'm still into one God and one God only. And you
mhm.
just confirm that you have, even in Hinduism, you have one God because God is in everything. Well, I think everybody has one God, and He is in everything if you are what you create.
And
yeah,
that's what the great mystics of every religious path has taught us. You look at the great Sufi poet, Rumi.
yes,
You look at the great Christian mystics, the Desert Fathers and Mothers. You look at the perennial wisdom, of the scriptures of the East, the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita. When you dig deep, and that's the problem. Most people don't want to dig deep. They would rather stay on the surface and argue and try to win debates to make them look mentally or intellectually superior to someone else. But when you actually go back and you get into you unearth, your particular faith, you see that we have a lot more in common than we do differences.
100%.
And now the differences, I don't think should just be washed to the side. They need to be discussed. They need to be nuanced. But again, I think what matters is that um, that we have more in common. And what all faith traditions teach us is to love the ultimate, the divine God, and to treat our neighbor the way we want to be treated. And if we can just
Yeah,
practice those two principles, those two realities, this world would be a much better place.
amen.
Yes.
I would agree with you 100%. I think that in Hinduism, the idea is that as long as you believe in something, you're good with us. There's no need to like ask somebody to change religions or uh, one thing is better than another. But as long as you've got a belief in something, and
Yeah, the misinformation about from one religion to the other is the thing that drives me insane. Hey, what's up? Yeah, I heard Bill Gates is getting a divorce with that's the here and the rumors that are going around the net. I guess it's true. Takara says, "Hello, Randy. Hello, theology. Hello, Mister Extra. Hello, everyone." But
T-Cod.
hello, you high friends. They couldn't see you, Raj. They're only seeing part of you. Who is that? That's Raj. His head is hidden behind his little video. Oh, he's on the phone, I think. Man-made in religions. There you go. So I don't know. I listen to them all. I don't. Lindsay, hello and welcome. I don't knock anybody for any belief and whatever they want to do. Go forth. God bless you. Do what you'd like to do. If it makes you and your family feel comfortable and it makes you feel good about your life with respect to others' life, I think it's a good thing.
And I would say this, Randy, that any religious belief that devalues one human being, one devalues all human beings. No religion should assault another
Mhm.
belief or another individual. We all come from the same source, and we just need to treat people the way that we all want to be treated.
That is very
yeah,
true. Whenever I
I just
attend or go
yeah,
to any place where it's being theology is being taught, and they utter the word that someone is wrong or not to believe their way, I walk out.
Yeah.
I just don't put up with it. It's something I don't embrace. When you tell me, oh, you believe this, you can't believe that, that's wrong. It's like, yeah, I gotta we'll see you later. I'm out of here. I'm not there to
Hey,
listen to you
Takara, how are you?
condone others, bring people up, appreciate what they believe and move on. And a lot of people don't know it, but what I've been in the Middle East for over 20 years, and I listen to the media and the people that talk about Islam and how misguided they are about the beliefs. And they just really want to go into what they seen on TV somewhere in Afghanistan and put that on the backs of everybody. And I just watch them be persecuted throughout the world for so much that people don't even understand. It's very, very unbelievable.
100%.
It's very unbelievable. And now that I've been here, being a Westerner in the Middle East, I have had every nut job on the planet send me some kind of a nonsense messages about this and that, and you can't believe the things I've been sent, and just the things. And just I don't even want to go into details, but most people have no idea of what Islam, what people in Islam believe. It's just crazy. I mean, people write me the nastiest things, send it to my family. They're just crazy.
Well, anytime a
ridiculous.
religion gets politicized, you know it's not good.
Yeah, this is God. What do
Thank you.
you,
Can I ask
Mr. Extra? Tell us more.
I want to ask you
Yeah.
a question.
Your mic is a little quiet.
Oh, it's a little quiet.
Can we turn him up somehow?
I don't know.
Raj will
I
try
wish
to.
I wish we could.
We can't.
Oh, okay. No, I don't.
I can turn them up on my computer, but I can't turn them up for everybody else.
Okay.
Let me go old school because it might be my Bluetooth. Maybe I need to put these on. Maybe you can hear me better if I put
Maybe.
these in. Let's see. I got a question I want to ask y'all. And
Sure.
I would love to hear all views and all opinions. I will disrespect no one's views or opinions when it comes to their religious belief.
Yeah, you guys got me for another 20 minutes or so, and then I gotta.
Oh,
head out
you're
for a little
feeling
bit.
this
So I'll
could
be
go
back.
on for a long time, huh?
okay.
No, I
Okay,
gotta.
Can you hear me better?
I'm excited.
You hear me better?
I can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Okay. Here's the thing that I want to ask you, and this is what my personal belief is that the Tower of Babylon, if you're familiar with the Tower
Yeah,
of Babylon,
100%.
do you believe that the Tower of Babylon, this is my way of thinking, that when God struck the Tower of Babylon and they went their separate ways, that it created other religions. That's why all religion starts off basically the same, and then it goes into whoever led them or whoever their prophet, however you want to say it, and that time period where they're from. Do you
So
agree with that?
okay. Well, who wants to start? Like, because I can go, but I'll whoever wants to
Go
go
ahead,
first.
Raj.
Okay. So my personal belief, and this is not. I don't want. I want to preface that this is my belief, and it's not anybody else's, and that I'm not. I don't want to put this on anybody else. So my personal belief is that I don't think that I don't think it comes from the Tower of Babel. I kind of feel like religions are all versions of them, all versions of some base stories that started God knows when. Because Hinduism predates uh, most of most of the Abrahamic religion, as far as I know. I may be wrong about that, but as far as I know, so some of the stories having a like you guys had Jesus, we had Krishna, like God sending a human avatar to our realm of existence isn't new to Hindus. That happened. It actually happened 7 or 8 times, if I'm not mistaken, in Hinduism. And so these kinds of ideas you see then propagated into stories that I see in Christianity, because I think there are reasons that some of our end time stories and the four more horsemen of the apocalypse and that kind of a thing is there are stories like that in Hinduism. um, that's just like it's just a retelling of the story and then a reframing based on whatever the needs of humans were at that particular time in that particular place. So, with Islam, there may have been a need to have more strict rules in that particular region for that particular faith and what have you. But again, this is because for me, my relationship with God is tenuous at best. And so I don't want to pretend to anybody that I always believe in God or I always don't believe in God. I'm like Schrodinger's cat. Sometimes it's yes and sometimes it's no. And you just never know unless you're an observer inside the box. Um, and again, that's just my perception of that, is that it's just the same stories being retold and repackaged depending upon where people are. Whether they happened or not, I don't know.
There you go.
Let me kind of.
I hope I tried to answer that. I'm sorry if I didn't answer that appropriately. But
Yeah. So
anyway.
I think the question number one is a great question, but I think there are a couple of assumptions within that question as well. And the first assumption is that the creation story, Genesis 1, 2, and 3, just kind of group it all together, that they were the first original human beings, that it was a literal Adam and literal Eve. And I mean, this is something that's debated within the world of academia quite often, whether Adam and Eve were real people, whether Adam, the Hebrew is Adame, which means that the dirt, and Eve, that name means mother of all beings. So was Adam and Eve a prototype? So when you get to the Tower of Babel, you have to ask yourself the question, well, are these like the first humans in this pilgrimage, right? And then at the Tower of Babel, when they broke off, there were no other camps. There were no other people around them. And then when they separated and went into these different geographical locations, and they put together or worked on their own religion. I don't hold to that conviction personally. I believe that the Bible is thematic, that the Bible is dealing with the nation of Israel, and therefore the creation story along with the Tower of Babel is dealing with ancient Israel only, and that there are other people living outside of the biblical narrative. And yeah, so that's kind of where I am on that. Like when Cain left, when Cain killed Abel, God said, well, let me put this mark on your head to protect you. Well, if there were no other people, who is Cain being protected from? Secondly, when Cain was set out, he was told to go marry. Well, who else was there? Who else was there to marry? So, and then plus, when you start getting into the other literature, like the Enuma Elish, the Epic of Gilgamesh, and you see all these other Canaanite stories around there, you see there are parallels. So when you look at all this evidence, you kind of funnel it down, it seems as though there were other people living at that time along with the children of Israel, and those other people had already their own particular faith and understanding and spirituality that was deeply embedded in that particular culture. Hence, the spirituality of the East does, without a shred of doubt, does predate Christianity. When you look at the Vedas and the Upanishads and so forth, it absolutely predates historic Christianity.
Yeah, but the predating subject also, just if you look at it and you are a monotheistic believer, you look at their story and the dates that they believed, who's to say that throughout time we did not learn more from others who came upon, if you look at each one, there's a beginning and there's an end, and they're pretty matching. We have creation and then we have the rapture coming. And in between, the stories that I see from the Bible to the Quran to the Torah, it's all a lot of history that is in the region here, and it's been here. It's just history and it's known. But also, like you say, there's predate time before this area. So where are the history books of the others before? And that's what kind of I wonder, where is that at?
So I'd want to say to that though,
Yeah,
if
go ahead.
I may,
Sure.
just really quick, is that there's so with the bib, like, okay, just as an example, the earliest written gospel, right, was written some 80 years or 90 years after the death of Christ, right? So it wasn't even written during the time of Christ. It was written a long time. I mean, in those times, a long time after. You're talking at least a couple generations in that period of time after Christ thing, right? So we're talking
No,
a
I
lot of
believe
stuff.
it was the documents were gathered and put together 90 years later. But the history and the things that were written down already existed. But the gathering of all the information placed in the one area where they came up with the Bible, this happened 90 years later. But the information was there. There were archives. There were
Well, the leading scholars, Bart Ehrman, John Dominic Cross, and John Shelby Spong, all of these guys attest to this fact that the earliest gospel that we have, our canonical gospels, not talking about the Gnostic gospels, Gospel of Thomas, Gospel of Mary Magdalene, and all those, but the canonical gospels we have, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, that Mark is the earliest. Mark was written about 68 to 70 AD, right before or right after the eradication of Old Covenant Jerusalem in AD 70. So the earliest gospel that we have is about 25 years, after Jesus. Now from Mark, we have Matthew and Luke, who basically extended Mark, and then Matthew and Luke also pull from the Q source, and then John was actually written because John's another category in and of itself. John was written in the 90s. So the earliest document that we have of Jesus is about 30 years, give or take a couple of years from Jesus actually walking on the earth.
Okay. Jeeve, welcome.
Hello.
Enlighten us.
Hi guys.
I just find that I just find that whether it's the Upanishads or the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita, that they're all texts written by man. I mean, it might not be a popular belief, but they're all texts written by men, and stuff was.
I think nobody denies that. The only thing we have is the inspiration and where it came from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the common belief that is, that the text is the inspired, inerrant, infallible, those words that are typically used to talk about Holy Scripture. But again, to me, that's a Western construct. Paul didn't think when he was writing, oh man, I'm writing, these are the very words of God. No, he was writing about his experience with the language that he had in a very limited context. It was not scientific at all. And that's the reason why for people to go to Genesis 1 and to think that Genesis 1 is explanation of creation totally missed the mark, because their description is based upon observation. And when you look, you didn't have light until day 4. And so day 1 connects with day 3, day 2, day 4, day 5, day 6. So this is this hyperbole, or we say this metaphor of creation. But again, this gets into a lot of other things where people just misread the text.
Word of mouth stories over the last 3 generations. Not confident. Yeah. I hear you.
Can someone explain? So Desiree says, listen to Jordan Maxwell. He described the Bible as an astrological standpoint instead of a human point. Can someone explain that to me? Because I don't know what that means. What's an astrological standpoint?
The sun has risen. The sun goes down. The sun will come back. The story of Jesus looked at as the moon and the stars, and they say that Jesus was the sun and the moon, and he has gone away, he will rise again, and that his teachings just go into the long-term astrological version of all the stories relate to the same, but they're based on astrological time.
Yeah, and it's deeply rooted in the Jesus mythicist view, which is espoused by the guy's name just left me. But he holds no credit. The Jesus mythicist view, that is, it has no credit. He holds no credit in academia. Bart Ehrman debated him about that particular subject. Robert Price is the guy's name who holds that view. It's interesting.
Robert Price, yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's reaching for straws. I think it's reactionary to some of the adverse attention that he's gotten over the years. So even your most liberal scholars and one of your most prominent theological atheists, Bart Ehrman, who teaches at Duke Divinity School, he doesn't even believe in God. He says that Jesus was a literal person in history.
Oh, he was. His
He
name
was.
was Asa. He walked the area, and the books are here about him.
Yeah.
You can go to some areas in the region in the Middle East where they know, this is the city and town where these people came from, and descendants thereby may be there. They were all stories. They were all parts of the city books, things, people there. They were around, They weren't mystical creatures.
No.
It's just, what do you place?
I have one more question. And there was a period in the Bible where Jesus disappeared. Are y'all familiar with it? He just disappeared. He was off the grid. Nobody knew where he was and what he not. There's some people that said that he went and visit those places like where they speak different religions like Hindu. He went there and visit. Do you believe in any of that? Or have you heard any of that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's from after what is it, the 15 or so 20-year silence of Jesus, and there's a lot of speculation. The most common theory is that Jesus went to the East and he learned the perennial wisdom of mindfulness, contemplation, deep looking, and so forth, trained by the Buddhist and Hindu philosophy, and then Jesus came back and then did all the teaching. And yeah, I personally don't think it can be substantiated. But however, but if you look at the Sermon on the Mount and some of the teachings of Jesus, you do see this non-binary, inclusionary message that he's presenting. So it is possible, it's plausible. I just don't think that we have any type of archaeological or historical records to to give it full credit. Yeah.
Yeah, but then Islam comes along many, many, many years later and states that they honor and they believe and they can agree with the people of the book. They also believe Jesus is coming back. They also believe the same things 1,000 years later or whatever, 400 years later. So the message didn't get dropped. They are still saying about his return. So somebody had a document somewhere about what was going on. Maybe it was not just presented to everyone. I don't know.
Yeah, they might have it somewhere in the vaults.
Interesting. I would say so I remember reading an article when I was younger about I think it was titled "Historical Jesus Doesn't Exist," and that was an interesting article for me. And the idea was that contemporaries at the time when Jesus was supposed to have walked the earth and done some of the things that he'd done, spoke of things that happened in Rome and things like that. But a Jew trashing a temple or what have you, which would have probably made the news, was never written about by any of these contemporaries. They have some Greek writings and things like that. I can't remember all the details, but I remember reading this, and I always kind of struck me of like, I wonder, is it possible? Like, is beyond the Bible and stuff that was written after the time of Jesus, was he really like a person, or is he an idea? And it's just something that I want to throw out
there. A small example that is kind of unrelated but related is 100 years ago, everybody was in the mosque and they went in to pray. As they were praying in the mosque, a young man ran up and he took their shoes and he ran away. He took someone's shoes. The
Yeah.
family name of that man is still known today, and there's still humor about, oh, you're the guys who stole the thieves who stole the sandal. And that family still exists here today, 100 years later, but it's not
Wow.
written down anywhere, but it's known. And the whole story is known, but it's not written anywhere. So I can see how you could go hundreds of years just knowing a story
Yeah.
when it's simplistic.
And not be
Now,
documented. Yeah.
yeah, and not being documented. I mean,
Well, the question
there's a lot
about
of tribal stories here that crack me up that people know from 200 years ago, and there's a name today of those family or tribe connected to that.
Right.
There's not much debate in the field of academia as to the historicity of Jesus. What is debated is whether, what the Son of God means, because Caesar was a son of God, Nero was a son of God, Alexander the Great was considered to be a son of God. So, what does that pericope mean? Did Jesus do these miracles? So all of this is debated, but what is not debated is the historicity of Jesus. So, and then you start looking at, you can look at extra biblical sources. So you look at Pliny the Younger, Pliny the Elder. You look at Josephus and the Jewish Wars. You look at Eusebius, and his historian. You had all of these people who had there was no advantage for them acknowledging this Jesus. Now, it is agreed that Jesus was a common name, right? But there was this one who was of Nazareth, and had these followers and so forth. But there's all sorts of records that affirm the historical Jesus. What is debated is the theological Jesus. The Son of God, the divinity, the virgin birth, all of that stuff. And that, of course, gets into a very interesting discussion.
Yes, blazing blasphemy here. Thank you. Anyway, that's where I get confused. About the time Jesus is walking around, or let's even predate Jesus, what's going on in China and India? What's the record say? Are there any records that old from China and India? I want to know.
There's older records, but yeah.
Did they know about this? Did they know what was going on?
None of them talk about Jesus.
No talk.
So that was a regional story and a regional thing.
Yeah.
Basically, because the Greeks didn't talk about it, as far as I know.
The Hindus didn't talk about it.
Hindus didn't talk about it. So Greece didn't know.
No regulation in the book either.
I thought there was something in the Hindu faith that mentioned this Jesus, but didn't call him exactly Jesus. I thought my Swami friend told me that.
Not that I've read of.
Not that I know of. Yeah. No, not ever.
I'm not sure.
Could have been, but I don't think I've read that in any of the books.
I just personal opinion is.
So basically, the people in the Middle East didn't have a clue what was going on in China or India. In India, you could walk there during the time.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, it's kind of like it was in one area, but it didn't go to other areas. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
Because
there's a lot of
Saudi to India and Pakistan in a few weeks. Why wouldn't just a couple weeks walk away? Would they not know?
Well, because the one belief, like the area I'm from in Kerala, right? Kerala Christians believe that the first thing of Christianity actually came from doubting Thomas. So the actual apostle, the story goes that the apostle Thomas came to Kerala and spread Catholicism, or at least some version of Christianity, and they became the first Catholics of India, and they all want to, for whatever reason, they all want to claim that they were Brahmins and whatever that converted to Christianity, because Even though caste isn't important to them, it is kind of important to them, which I
Yeah.
kind of always find amusing. But yeah, so that's their claim, anyways. And I mean, we do have like I've seen the entombed casket of the Saint Francis of Assisi. He's like in a glass.
Mhm.
In a glass like coffin inside the church.
Right.
But yeah. Anyways,
Wow.
kind of
Yep.
weird.
Is this one?
Sorry, I had to grab a snack.
Oh,
I
you
don't
good.
know what that means though. It shows that they lived wrong. They had to no faith. It took longer, but they are the chosen. So
More to you,
who?
Mr. Extra. Can we hear more of your comments?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
want
I'm
my
sorry.
I
comments?
want to hear you expand on your theology and idea.
Well, that was just one I was telling you about was the Tower of Babylon. That's something that I personally believe myself. You know, I've been listening to y'all and y'all make some valid points. Also, that in our teaching they tell us that because he spoke of the creation, but what they tell us in Bible, and that I'm pretty sure they do in Bible studies, that it was 1,000 years per creation. That when he did light, you know, it was 1,000 years. Every time he created, it was 1,000 years between it, and that's because they assumed that, I believe, because they said it's one day is 1,000 years in God's eyes. They get that from scripture, so I guess they assuming that, and that's how all that ties together. Is it something that y'all believe in, that it took them that long to make it? And that's the Bible. Also, when you read the Bible, don't it make you seem like it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then rest on seven? It doesn't make it seem like it was 7 years. I mean, 1,000 years for all this to take place.
Well, you have to look at the Hebrew there. So the Hebrew word for day is the word yom, and it's not clear that it means a 24 hour day. Furthermore, the first verse in Genesis 1:1, Bereshit bara Elohim, is not actually the first line of the story. It's almost like it's a title. It's an entry. Um, John Walton.
Lindsay
Um,
Loveland.
hey, Lindsay. John Walton is great. His explication of that is fantastic. I personally don't think that Genesis 1 is. I believe that it was written in the Babylonian captivity. Okay, so it was written when the Jews were in captivity, and here they are surrounded by all these other pagan, and I'm not using that word derogatory pagan. I'm simply meaning not Jewish. They were surrounded by all these other pagan cosmology stories, and so they wanted to keep their name, they want to keep their tribe, they want to keep their group, and so they heard about the Enuma Elish, they heard about the Canaanite stories, and so what they did was they came up with their own creation story, pointing to Elohim and Yahweh as their creator. It wasn't a made up story. It wasn't something that they just conjured up one night sitting around the fire. When you actually read the Genesis 1 account, and imagine sitting in the desert looking up, and everything, the whole story is an observation, is what they can see. It's not a scientific explanation. They don't know about the Milky Way or the North Star. Everything's based upon what they can see, and so they took that understanding and they wrote it down as a means to unite their people, something they can hold on to while still living in a foreign land.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then going back to your story about the gap, I mean, it's called the gap view. There are a lot of Christians who hold to that understanding, that it's 1,000 years. It's just not one that I think, it's not something that I hold on to. But again, I don't think there's anything inherently evil or wrong with it. I mean, I think you still get the point of the story, no matter what theological belief you attach to it.
Right.
I'm a Big Bang proponent, so and I'm more into science, so I would say that
Mm-hmm.
I don't really believe in the creation story as such. But
Well, I'm a theist.
not that I'm opposed to you believing it. I'm just that's my personal belief.
No, I'm a theistic evolutionist as well. Well, not as well, but that's what I am. So I absolutely believe in the Big Bang. I just believe that there was a Big Banger, that God used the Big Bang in order for creation to be here. So it's almost hard to deny when you look at the radiation field and what science has shown us now. It's more of a struggle to deny it than to believe it.
Right.
Yeah, I would say Blazing Blasphemers got more of my number when it comes to these things. But I'm just trying to be nice about it because we all have to live together, and so people are always gonna disagree with you, or people are always gonna
Have
see
their own
things
opinion.
different than you, and you've got to be able to find common ground, and I think the common ground really is in shared values. That's the common ground that I want to
Good
live
point.
in, right? Like,
Right.
we all want to be good to each other because it benefits everybody
Hello, Sonia.
Hey, Sonia.
to do that. So,
Mhm.
again, like I may not be everybody's cup of tea, but that's just the way I see it.
Even the early church fathers, a lot of them, like Origen, Origen believed that the first couple of chapters of Genesis was allegory. Just because he believed that doesn't mean that he's right, but it just shows that you can hold differing beliefs and still get along and respect and honor one another, right? We can mind many different things and yet be of the same mind. So I agree with Raj. That's kind of where I am on that.
Yeah. Have you ever read like the Gospel of Thomas? I read it a long time ago.
I have it right here beside me.
It was I grew up in Kitchener-Waterloo, and there was a college there that had a copy on file, so you could go and read it. It was pretty cool.
Yep.
And I always on a side tangent note, I'm always jealous of people who can like remember specific quotes from writers and stuff like that and pull it out like at a drop of a hat, just pull out these quotes and stuff like that and remember exact passages. Whereas I don't know, my mind never worked that way. I'm always relationally, I don't think about text in the same kind of way. But I do remember reading that and then getting this feeling of something to the effect of that you could pray anywhere and commune with God anywhere, and that you didn't need to have a body or even a priest to kind of direct your faith and stuff like that. And I always found it interesting, like what books got decided to be canonized and put in the Bible, and what books didn't get put in the Bible, and that whole process.
Right.
But anyways,
Yeah, there's a lot of stories about that are quite confusing, to be honest.
That's true.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think that's part of it, right? Because it varied a lot, and it probably wouldn't have suited the church at the time to include stories that said that, hey, we don't actually have to exist, or that there wasn't a place for the church in religion. So,
well, it goes back. I mean, when you go back and look at the codices, Codex Vaticanus, and all these different, and this gets pretty technical, but when you go back and look at some of these ancient sources, a lot of them include some of the pseudepigrapha or the Gnostic apocryphal text. Some of them don't. And I think it has a lot to do with like the Council of Trent, and then Irenaeus, and Luther. Luther rejected the Book of James and the Book of Hebrews.
Are you talking about Martin Luther?
Yeah, the Reformer.
Okay. Yeah.
Edward, would you like to come back?
Mr.
Are you
95,
in that
Mr.
stable
95
area?
thesis.
Yeah, 95 Theses. Yeah, he rejected the Book of James because he thought it was in stark contrast to the Book of Romans.
I think I did read about that actually.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago now. It feels like a lifetime ago.
So this is my thoughts on that, right? I mean, you can really go a lot of different ways talking about this kind of stuff, but to me, if something is true, if something adds value to life, I don't care where it's found. It's of God. If it's true, it's God. So I can, I do have a special affinity towards the Bible because that's, what I did for 25 years. And I am a deep, I am a deep Christian. That's my particular path. But that doesn't mean that whenever I read the Katha Upanishads or, study the, what a bodhisattva is in Buddhism, it doesn't mean that I can't learn something and find value in that. Again, if it's true, it's good, and it's of God.
So do you think these truths just end up resonating with us, and that is the way we can identify these truths, that when you read something and it really identifies with you, that somehow you are experiencing God? If that maybe, I mean.
Oh, absolutely. I believe so. Yeah. But I would also say that to me, God is the biggest paradox as well. Faith is a great paradox. Faith and doubt are dancing partners. And for a person to be honest and say they have deep faith, they also must say that they have deep doubt. And they're not mutually exclusive. They go together. And what drives me deeper to my faith is my doubt. And what drives me deeper to my doubt is my faith.
Leanna Hilton, hello and welcome.
Hello, Leanna.
I'd agree with you. I mean, I think that's why I feel like sometimes I do and sometimes
Mr.
I
Extra,
don't.
go ahead.
No, I just was wanting to, I hear y'all talking, and I do agree that good and evil, they're twins, they're married, they go with each other. You can't have one without the other. You can be more good than bad or more bad than good. I do agree. But I want to ask y'all, have you ever heard of Revelation being the beginning of the Bible instead of the end of the Bible?
Revelation, the book of Revelation being at the beginning?
Instead of the end, yes.
Instead of the end.
There's he disappeared, but I was just going to say,
struck him down. Oh, to tell, you evil man.
In Hinduism, there's a belief that
That's a joke. Sorry.
In Hinduism, there's a belief that history kind of repeats itself, and that these kinds of things have happened before and will happen again. And there are pictures of, I mean, you could relate them to spaceships or whatever, and what seemed like nuclear bombs that existed before before our version of humanity existed. But I mean, who knows?
Yeah, Mr. Exer, did you see what God did to you when you spoke the untruth? He removed you from the broadcast.
I brought you back.
I'm still. I can hear my voice, but unless I go big, I can't see myself.
But Randy God redeemed him too, because he brought him back.
Yeah.
Actually, I was consulting the Quran in English, listening to each story and seeing what it says in the Quran from the beginning to the end, and the books, from the Quran to the Bible to the Torahs. I'm seeing the pattern of all monotheistic religions are all speaking basically the same words.
Yeah.
There's no division. The divisions are finite. The stories are the same. The times, the parables, the learning, the beliefs.
Blazing Blasphemer, I would agree with you that the God of the Old Testament is a mean son of a bitch.
Okay, but could we not say that was not a parable? When did we decide one is a truth and one is a parable? Which is one of a learning lesson and which is not? This is my problem with the Bible. My problem
So
is,
yeah.
how do I determine which was a story to guide me and which was a fact?
Pretty much.
And this
But
is
we
the
don't know what
confusing.
is the
Yeah.
facts and what's
So
the
so
fiction,
this
right?
this is
It's what is
interesting to
written
me.
to us.
Yeah.
You know,
I,
we
I
weren't
I would
there in that era.
yeah, but I would say, Randy, I like I went to a Mennonite high school for high school, and one of the teachers brought up in our in our world religions class, brought up an idea that um, the Bible is a way of thinking, and that um, if you don't look at it as a literal fact, but in a way of like how to evolve your thinking to be a more kinder and better human being. I like that idea, right? You know, like in the Old Testament, they started out with really basic rules and stuff like that, like the Ten Commandments: "Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not do this," whatever, right? You shouldn't steal, and all these things. And then as you move, your thought grows, and you become more complex, and then you end up with the Sermon on the Mount, and love thy neighbor as I love thyself, and blessed are the poor, for they shall inherit the earth, or whatever. I mean, I can't remember everything on the Sermon on the Mount, but like it's an evolution of thought, and on how to be a better human being. And I always like that idea.
That is all really nice, but that also comes back to my initial thought. What about the people in India and China? Why would the message be spread among the smallest of people? Why wasn't it began where the populace lived?
Well, you're assuming that there wasn't a lot of people there, but I mean, even in the Jewish wars, which happened around 60, started around 64, and ended around 125 with Malta. I mean, there were over 1 million people that were murdered in the Jewish wars. So, over 100 people, not 100, over 100, over a million people. Let me get that correct. Over 1 million people. So we don't know. It possibly could have happened that the message was spread, but at that time, they told stories not by writing them down, but by passing them from one generation, to the next. So
Oral tradition.
yeah, through oral tradition. And Bart Ehrman talks about this, Jesus Before the Gospels, in his classic book from about 4 years ago, where he goes and explains all of that. So I think we have to take that into consideration. And I also think, like Raj said, and I agree with him, that the whole biblical narrative is, to sum it up, is basically this evolution in human consciousness. It really is.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, that's exactly it. You get it. Nail on the head.
Yeah, it's an evolution of human consciousness, which means whenever, for me, I'm a little hesitant to make value judgments about some of the events that I consider to be very, evil and very atrocious in the Old Testament. That's the reason I have to catch myself and understand that they're working with a system of thought and a system of belief that is not univocal with my system of thought and my system of belief. Are there things there that are unethical, immoral? Of course, absolutely. But what's the timing? What is their idea? And trying to understand it from their ancient context rather than use the rules of logic and debate in order to marginalize, what's going on in the stories. I think when you understand it accurately in its proper context, it makes sense. Just like I remember years ago when I was doing my Hindu training.
All right, one second. Yeah, Carlinda, your belief is well known and it's appreciated what you believe.
Yes.
And I'd like to say what you believe.
Yeah.
So when I was reading the Bhagavad Gita about 8 years ago, I read this one part where it talks about there's no one can come to God except through Krishna. And I know the word Krishna means the all attractive one.
Yeah.
And I was kind of taken back by that statement because I thought I was under the assumption, based upon what I've read on some of the Hindu people that I talked to, that Hinduism was very universal, very inclusionary. And yet here I have a statement in the Bhagavad Gita that says that Krishna is the only way. And which to me sounded like it was very exclusive. Well, I read that and I thought, man, well, this is just bizarre. Well, until I was able to dig deeper, right? And when I was able to dig deeper, I understood that my Western understanding of exclusivity and universality was totally different. From what the Gita was
standpoint of what they say.
from what the Gita was talking about. How did I find that out? Well, I had to dig deeper, right? I had to go deeper into the story and talk with people who are experts in it. And I would say the same thing is for the Bible. We have to go deeper into the narrative to find out what's going on, and to see that it is this story of evolution of human consciousness. And some of the things, in order for that to transpire, some things had to happen that we might consider to be distasteful.
May I-
Well, being a 20-year preacher in a church, did you ever study and read the Quran from beginning to end?
I did. Not in church. When I was in my academic studies, I did. Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. 2 Extra. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. I was just saying that he speaks of things being immoral that they did in the Bible. At the beginning, there was no law, so it's basically everybody was going by what they felt or what they thought was right. In the New Testament, towards the New Testament, they created the Ten Commandments, which gave us some idea of some form of law, and then people during the times had created with man, and biblical had created what we have the laws that we have now. But yes, some of the things that they did in the Bible was very strict because there was no law, and God was and Jesus hadn't walked, so he was trying to prove to people you must walk this certain path, you must walk this certain way. So he did things drastically. The earth came and swallowed people up whole. Fire came from heaven and killed people. Bears came out the woods and ate people. He did all these things to let them know that he was no one to play with in the New Testament. And they also had to give offerings. Remember, they had to give offerings for blood offerings and all that during the Old Testament and New Testament. And now we don't do stuff like that. So
Yeah, today the devil exists in the divorce courts. He is ordained by the local council.
Praise the Lord.
Sorry.
Amen.
Hey, Jeeve, I haven't heard a word out of you. Come on, give us some of your fantastic opinion and input.
My opinion? No.
Oh, come on. Are we going neutral?
I'm neutral, pretty much. All across. I'm more on the scientific side of it and stuff, and what I was taught. I'm not very religious. I do follow my Hindu culture, but not to the T. But
yeah, that's another thing I hear. I see a lot. Speaking of what you're saying right there, a lot of people say, well, we believe and I believe and you believe. I guarantee you, when you go down to TGIF Fridays on a Friday night, there's a lot of Christians having a beer, but they don't believe in it. You know what I mean? It's like, are you the scholar? Are you the preacher? Are you the imam? Are you the one?
I'm just trying to live my life.
Anybody that's following the path of their faith word for word, day per day. There may be somebody, but
my belief is every step I do in my life or somebody's life is what I bring God to them, right? What I do every day that's how I believe it, right? Like what I do and to myself and help others around the world or whatever I do to the community is what I'm the God trying to do, It's not I have to get a power from here, power from there, or whatever, and give me the strength to help anyone. No, I'm here in the earth. I'm in the pandemic myself with everyone else, like everyone else, and that's how I believe in it.
That's good. So, Carlinda, no, I'm just saying it's good that you shared your belief.
I go to the church. I go to I go to temples and stuff like that just to get the energy in me. It's like meditation, like somebody doing yoga or something like that. you go into that kind of building, you get like this energy in you. I mean, you leave with a nice, clean energy out of you, and all your stress is gone, kind of thing. And then you go home and go on your day. And that's what I do go to temples and stuff for that reason, right? It's not because of like, oh, he's going to change something in my life or whatever. No, if I do my work, my stuff, it's what I believe. So that's
this
my
is
philosophy.
actually something that Jeeves just kind of tapped upon there that I do find interesting between Western and Eastern. So when you go to a temple, there's not somebody there to like, we don't have sermons and things like that. Like most of the time when you're going to the temple, you're just doing you. You're like, you go there, you do your prayers, you say what you want. If you are looking for a blessing or something like that, you're, asking the priest to do a particular ritual or what have you to bring blessings on your family, or to, have God help somebody in some way or something like that, for a better outcome, I guess. Would be. But the thing is that when you go to the temple, you literally like pull out a mat, put it down, sit down yourself, and do your prayers and meditate, or do whatever you need to do. There's no like, we have things called bhajans where we do like group prayer, but that is not a regular every week kind of requirement of the faith. You just go in whenever you feel like it and commune with God in a way that's right for you. And nobody says anything to you, and you kind of lead your own spiritual life. And I just find it very different because, like, I've been to a lot of church services, and there it's
yes, Helen. I love the food part too.
It's just, well, yeah. I mean, I like the food part of Hindu temple too, yes. But I also like it for Sikhs as well. They have something
Helen
called
says she loves the food part.
like, if you ever want like a 5-star vegetarian Indian meal, go to a Sikh temple for langar. So you go in, you do your prayers. You have to wear a head covering that they'll provide to you, and then afterward there is a meal served, and it is phenomenal. Like, if you like North Indian food, you'll love langar, and it's free, and they're very giving people. So just highly recommend.
Well,
I know where I'm going for breakfast.
I mean,
there you go. Hey, you go to the Quran.
I gotta find one.
Yeah, Helen knows what I'm talking about. That Gurdwara food is like, they'll have like a tea station. I'm like a big chai person, so
coffee
anyways,
station and everything.
And everybody sits on the floor, and they have like little metal plates, and they put the food on there, and everybody just, no one's above anybody else. There's no higher levels or lower levels.
Yeah.
Everybody's just sitting on the floor eating together. Yeah. And I love that vibe. Like, that's a very Indian vibe, especially in
very welcoming,
in non-Abrahamic religions, at least. Like
Raj, I mean, isn't the according to Patanjali, in his book, that the Hindu path, I know there's a lot of different paths, but it's basically yoga sita vritti nirodha, right? So the clearing out the mind stuff, in order to get rid of the Maya. I think I'm saying that correctly. In order to come to our oneness with Brahman, I believe. So I don't want to fracture all this up, but I think I think Patanjali talks about that in his book on the 8 limbs of yoga. That yogas is essentially the eradication or the compartmentalization of the mind clutter, the mind junk, in order to find ourselves.
I would agree with you on that. I did a lot of that when I was in high school.
Welcome, Helen.
I learned to like compartmentalize things and in a way to cope with the world and things that were going on in my life. But yeah, and I just feel like it's a journey of self-discovery, really.
It's and it's deeply Christian in the context of the Christian mystics. I mean, this is what the mystics were saying. Meister Eckhart, our Isaac the Cyrene.
Okay, I'm not familiar with the Christian mystics, so you'll.
This is where I believe our Christianity of the West has missed the mark, pun intended, harmatia sin. Anyway, this is where we've missed the mark. Is we haven't looked, back to the early church fathers and church mothers. You can find all this material online. Just search church fathers and church mothers, and they were the closest.
All right, Mr. Extra's got to go. Sorry to interrupt. I wanted to say a
take care.
good
It was
goodbye.
nice meeting you, Mr. Extra.
Hey,
Here,
man,
let me
it's great to
subscribe
meet
before you
you.
go.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all having me up here.
Yeah, I'm going to
Let's do this again.
too.
Let's do this again.
All right, take care. Bye. Thanks for coming.
I think I'm subscribed to every. I'm going to make sure I'm subscribed to OB. Pretty sure I am.
Yes, I'm subscribed to him. Yep.
Sorry about interrupting you. He was headed out the door. I didn't want him to run without.
No, that's cool.
Saying bye. No worries.
Yeah.
Why is it so difficult if you're not in the chat?
To subscribe to people, right? So
Yeah, they should make it so that if you're in the stream, you should still be able to subscribe easily.
I click on their name or whatever.
I got to go back and be like,
Yeah, it's harder actually.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. I'll find one anyways at some point, but
You know what would be nice? If people could sit down and talk about different faiths and different thoughts, just the way we're doing. Have you ever noticed when they get theologians on a TV show anywhere in the world, they end up in a battle?
Debate. It's a debate.
Not a good, healthy one either. It always goes south.
It's fighting.
Why is that?
Struggle.
You know,
Because they're trying to their beliefs.
Mhm.
One belief to another belief. That's what clashing together, right? That's the point.
Yeah, I would say this. Somebody close to me actually brought this up today and kind of gave me some insight that I didn't have, which I really appreciate. And that was, and I didn't even see this myself, but so in my youth, I grew up in a predominantly Christian country and a predominantly Christian. I went to a Christian high school, and I had to, on the daily, I was always having to defend and debate for my existence. You know what I mean? Or at least that's how I felt. Like I had to be able to defend myself and my beliefs or the beliefs of my family. And to kind of be like, there was validity to what I believed and validity to who I was, and to the identity that my family had given me. And I feel like that always having to be on the ready to fight and always being, ready to argue my point is something that I've kind of taken forward from my childhood into my adulthood, which is why, one, I don't have anxiety when it comes to confrontation, and maybe I relish it a little bit more than I should. I think the other part of it is, but I think that it's also akin to why now, when I'm talking with people and not even talking about religion now, but I'm just say something like race, and I'm having these discussions about race, that I'm so forceful because I feel like, if I don't step up, and if I'm not ready to fight, and if I'm not ready to make my point or to be seen, that people will just ignore what I have to say, maybe to a certain degree, or will push off what I have to say to the side, right? And I think that
yeah,
I think a lot of
arguments
people
are quite lonely.
Yeah, and I just feel like that's kind of like some of the more outspoken people. That's kind of where they're coming from. So some Christian Indians feel like they have to be forceful about their faith because other Indians, like Hindu Indians and Muslim Indians, may question them about their beliefs because they're just seen as, well, you were a former Hindu or you were a former Muslim. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Before you
Like,
turned Christian.
and so and therefore for some reason they've got to kind of prove their existence.
I don't know. In
And
my
so
office, we have people from Kerala who are Muslim, people from Kerala that are Christian. We also have Hindu, and we have all guys from India from a different. And I think the boss did it on purpose, so nobody would team up and rob him. But he
Yeah,
mixes us. We are mixed on purpose. I mean, the other
I'll
day
tell
we
you-
were going to replace an engineer, and no, I want an Indian. We've got too many Filipinos, and he keeps it mixed. So nobody bonds to get against him, I guess. You can
I will
find
say this: if you know some Muslim Keralites, you got to have them They make them like the bomb ass biryani, and they make this bomb ass crab curry that is like so phenomenal.
they always
can't
bring
even-
us cooked candies and things when they go home and come back from their holiday. So I've ate every little pastry that exists in Kerala personally.
Yeah, that's
Well,
so
we've got
good.
great seafood if you ever get a chance. And
Yeah,
they
Yeah,
do
you
the
guys are
best.
right by the
In my
water.
opinion, they do the best.
Uh,
Yeah, you guys do.
but I found their
So we-
biryani to be spicier than I care for.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, that's
Raj, I'm gonna.
That's a good one.
I mean,
That's okay.
that's South
Yeah,
India.
yeah.
I can't help you there.
Just add some coconut milk more into it. It'll cool it down.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mr. Richardson. We're missing your thoughts. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, just I need to make a phone call here, but I want to leave you with this. So my background, I have the degrees, and my degrees were in Christian apologetics with the concentration in philosophy. So my degrees were going to be used to argue with people like myself, and because I've evolved, past a lot of that stuff. But this is the greatest lesson that I've ever learned in life, that I don't have to agree or impress anyone. And I'm not here to convince anyone of anything, right? I have strong convictions about my personal beliefs, but they're mine. They're personal, right? And so I don't have to try to push them or infuse my beliefs with you in order for us to be friends, or in order for us to have a
Yeah.
glass of wine. And I think that if people could adapt that mindset, that you don't have to convert or convince anyone,
Anybody.
just treat people the way that you want to be treated. And some of the greatest conversations that I've had are with my friend who is a Hindu Swami, or with one of my Buddhist friends, or with a guy who recently passed away who was the head of the American Atheist Alliance. He was a full-blown
Oh,
atheist.
wow.
And we would sit across the table, sipping on a glass of bourbon, talking about spirituality. And it was some of the most beautiful, deeply moving conversations that I've
I
ever
bet an atheist and alcoholic. I bet you guys really bet it out there.
So
That was humor, by the way.
he wasn't defensive. I wasn't defensive. It was just two guys who love life sitting down to talk about things that matter, right? And
Yeah,
spirituality.
exactly. That's how it should be.
Yeah, it really matters. So anyway, listen, I got to go. I've enjoyed the conversation. Randy,
Hey,
thank
man,
you.
come around. But we are around about every day, chit-chatting about anything and everything. We really don't have a direction. We just kind of, something pops in and we start. You never know. We can be talking about
Keep it
turtle
jiving.
soup in 10 minutes, man.
That'll be good. That's what I like.
Enjoy
All
that.
right.
Thanks very much, Obi. I really appreciate
See ya.
you.
Take care.
Yeah, take care, guys.
Thanks.
Take care.
Blazing says that atheist loves bourbon. There you go.
Very good.
What's
Oh, I
up
do like
there?
Bourbon's good.
Bourbon's like I find it's a lot like Canadian rye whiskey. It's like it's got a similar taste to it. So I really like that with ginger ale or on the rocks.
There you go. There's your drink. There's your flavor.
Yum, yum,
Yeah,
yum.
Yeah, that was a
bourbon and
long
ginger ale is a
deal.
good.
I
is a
can't
good
believe we
substitute
had all
for-
that conversation and nobody got into an argument.
I've got an argument with someone talking about this, and I just gave
Are you
up.
guys going to be?
And
Are you
then-
guys going to be on for a bit? I need to go make a call as well, but I'll be back in like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be hanging
You're
out.
gonna be- Okay, I'm going to drop
We're going to
down.
have
But,
Jeeve go over something exciting for us.
okay, I'm going to drop
Me?
down, but
I
I'll
got
be back.
nothing
I'll be back
exciting.
in a bit.
Man, that's it.
Okay.
It's your turn. I've had too much to say. Okay, see you soon, Raj.
See you soon, Raj. Okay. Anybody else want to come up,
Anyway.
please?
Think we all just giving opinions. Exactly. That's what's
Yeah.
it, man. Everybody's talking about opinions. There's nothing, anything, or anywhere in directive about anything.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
You know, what I like to do when people start with a religion, I was given
Yeah.
a full blown copy of the Quran in English, and I like to reference from anywhere from Hindu to Buddhism to Christianity, and I like to, and it's like, okay, this is all here. And then
Mhm.
you do the same thing with the Jews and the Torah. Well, it's all there. Then you do
Yeah,
the same
same
thing with the Bible. Well, it's all there.
All there.
And I don't know why we all try to confuse each other. It's all written and it's all the same stories.
It's just said in a different way. In
Yeah,
every
but it's
book.
all the same
But it's
thing.
the
One
same
God, one
story.
God only. How you manifest them in
Exactly.
your mind is your business.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's move on to something techie and nerdy. Rod just told me that I can't get this EGUP blah 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 without some major event, and Azus won't tell me how to buy just one. It's like I bought a secret computer.
What the fuck?
It's crazy.
They won't tell you
man.
nothing?
No, they keep directing me to some guy in some other region, and
Yeah.
then after they direct me there, he said, "Oh, we don't know. Call the I call them. I send the manufacturer. Oh, we recommend you contact your reseller." I said, "Dude, I've been through this circle for twice now." Tina said, "I'm listening in." Yeah, Tina, we're talking about. I bought a computer that has a special interface for a external graphics card, and it's kind of like a dock, so I can run. My little laptop can do big things, but I need this dock to make it work that way.
Oh, the
And I don't have it. It's a great fast computer now, but I wanted the dock. That's the whole reason of buying this little computer.
Yeah. And
The
they'll be
whole
selling you
purpose.
the graphic card or whatever it is. The dongle.
You know, it comes with this external connected device that you don't know about that computer, or did I show you?
Yeah, you showed me. It's
Yeah.
the 13-inch, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The whole thing
Mhm.
behind the story of them selling it down your throat is you get this great add-on that's going to change your life.
It's probably just a graphic card add-on of the graphic card, right?
Yeah, it's a graphic, but it ends up being a dock, for your external monitor, for your peripherals and a charging station.
Yeah.
So it
the
ends
whole
up docking all your devices,
Mhm.
It's just nice.
That's cool.
I want it.
But
I can't have it. It's making me mad.
nobody wants to sell it to you. It's like, what the fuck?
Every time you buy a device that's only been out on the market a couple of weeks, you
Yeah.
go through this stuff. I should know better, but I didn't know this would be that hard.
Oh man. Don't worry, you probably will find somebody that'll sell it to you.
Then I got on Reddit and tried to explain. You know how Reddit is. Half the time everybody's cool. The other half the time, you're a
Nope.
dumbass. Why'd you buy it without knowing? Oh God, give me a break, guys. Reddit is like the Wild West. It always has been.
Yes, it is. It's Wild
Yeah,
West.
anytime you put anything down, it can go either way. There's
Either a
no
good way
telling
or
how
a
it's going to
bad
go.
way. Just be prepared. That's all.
Yeah.
To get either.
If anybody
comment.
goes on Reddit, don't be offended if you put something and it all of a sudden goes virally wrong. That
Yeah.
just happens on Reddit.
Yeah, that
You can
he
do the
gets
same
sent.
thing in a week and everybody's cool with it.
Oh, I'll help this guy. I know where to get it. Okay, everybody, shut up. No.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've been on Reddit. Shit. But Reddit actually helps you a lot. Like I've learned a lot of things from some people. People tell, "Oh, use this app to do this and this
Yeah,
and
I
this."
do.
So
I
and
do
so.
research on Reddit too. It's great.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's and professionals are there to help you too.
Yeah, when somebody
I love
like a
it.
group gets together and they buy something, I remember we were all talking about the Apple Card, the good and the bad, and
Yeah,
we all went into this discussion, and then we all started saying what their credit limit was, and it was kind of
Yeah.
funny the difference in credit limits that Apple handed out
yeah.
with the same incomes. I don't know how they configure the credit. When you have the same score and the same income, and the guy next to you is half of what you are,
It still
it
gets the
doesn't
same
make a
amount.
lot of sense how they determine it.
I don't know either. That's why a lot of other countries didn't in part with it. It's only the U.S. You can't get the card in Canada. It's only the U.S.
Really?
Can't get it anywhere. Yeah, you can't get it in Canada. It hasn't come out in Canada. I don't know where else you
What?
can get it, but
But you can have Apple Pay, right?
yeah, Apple Pay I can get it, but it's
Okay.
on through my bank, right? And then slot it
All
into the
right.
Apple Pay. So that's how I do
I
it.
know my personal bank, I got a credit card with like a $3,000 limit. I'm saying, man, you
Yeah.
see my deposit, you morons. And the external bank I have no relationship with gives me like 18 grand credit. And it's like,
Oh
what is
shit!
going on, man? Timmer, what's happening? Good to see you. Thank you for coming
Hello, hello,
over.
hello. Cup of joy.
But I never
Joy.
get instantly approved on anything
Yeah, that's true.
because I have to write my income. Then I have to write this part is tax free, and then it stumbles them.
Oh my
Wait a
god.
minute. You don't pay tax on what? Because I live abroad and I'm allowed to make so much tax free.
Yeah,
And whenever you tell that to the credit company, it freaks them out.
yeah. They're like, what?
Payment
What?
habits are considered, I believe. They determine your credit score. Yeah, I know. My credit score is like beyond excellent. It's just different banks will look at it differently. My income's the
Yeah.
same. My score is the same. Anyway, I don't need any more credit. I got so many cards. If I had to, I could live for a year, but I'd never use them because it'd take 20
Yeah.
years to pay them back.
Oh, you're paying me exactly. Don't get into that. Till up more.
Yeah, I don't want to get in that situation.
No, I've been there. I don't want.
And when
Go
we're
back
young,
there
we
now.
all screw up, We all buy the
Yeah.
thing we didn't need to do
Yeah,
the trip we shouldn't have done. Stay in the hotel when
But
we
then they
should have stayed at
convince you,
another.
like the sale guy will convince you, come up to you, hey, would you like it? We get this much and this much. Come on, you can do it. They'll help with your credit score. Like shit, no, it doesn't. Just fuck me
Yeah,
up.
they hurt you when you're young. When you're young, man, they bombard you with credit
Yeah.
deals.
Yeah, they do.
They really,
Well, you're
even
so
now in
young, you can
Saudi,
do it now. Hmm.
everything at the bookstore or the electronics store, pay now,
Yeah.
10 payments later, no interest, low monthly payments. If you've got an account at Arab National Bank, you can walk out today with no down payment. It's like, hey, man. And that started here like 5 years ago. I'd never seen that here before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, now they're pushing the credit here at electronic stores and stuff. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. You
The
sucker yourself
Philippines,
into it.
my credit must H.
What's H?
Well, what's the end of that, Timmer? We missed it.
H? What is H? Hammer? Hate? What is it?
Sucked.
Oh, sucked. Yeah. When you first start, you gotta be careful. And young kids don't listen.
Well, the credit companies torture people the worst. You know
Yeah,
how
they
it is
do.
in the U.S. If you lose your job, let's say, and you
Yeah.
didn't really have a plan, and you were late on your credit payments a few times, it
Yeah.
screws you up for 7 years.
Yeah. Same here.
It's not a lot. The punishment is horrendous.
Right.
They
7
really
years to
strap it
clear.
to the people. That's unfair
Mhm.
as hell.
Yeah, it sucks.
In the Philippines, they give everybody credit, and they don't even have a credit score. I don't know how it works there.
Really? What the?
Yeah, you got a job, you get it. They give you a car. Bernie, good day from Melbourne.
Hello, Bernie.
They never offered
Melbourne.
you much credit.
My cousin sister lives in Melbourne. I don't know what part, but I just know it's Melbourne.
I've been
Yeah.
watching a lot of Aussie news, Bernie. I don't know why. It started popping up on YouTube, and then I started watching it. What are the channels I'm listening to every day? Maybe you know it.
What? He
Let
probably
me
might
see
know.
this.
Something. College.
They started you out with 7,000. That's good.
Credit. I was like, sweet, free money. Let's party. Yeah. Then you gotta pay all that back. That's when
Bernie,
you're
I've been
stumbling.
listening to Sky News Australia.
Oh yeah. They do it on YouTube. That's why
Yeah,
I watch it live on YouTube. I watch that too.
Don't watch Sky News Australia. Well, thank you. That's what I've been watching. It came
Why
out on
not?
YouTube. I watched it once, and now they recommend it 9,000 times a day.
Yeah, it's
I
live.
actually kind of like it.
Nothing is free. Yep.
They are
They're
fake
like
news.
fake.
I like them.
Really? I don't think they're fake news, but
Me either. I like the way they talk.
it's cool. You get the world
But
news 24/7.
yeah, I like the way they speak about the real consequences of the nonsense that's happening in the world.
Yep.
Is Sky News? I thought Sky News was legit everywhere. Bernie's telling us now all my news is fake. Thank you, Bernie. Thank you for your joy. Everything you believe is bullshit.
Yep.
They're all one-sided liberals. I thought they were right in. Really, they're liberals? I don't know. An Australian liberal is really different than the ones I know.
Yeah. American and you Canadian liberals are different.
Yeah, I think it's very different. I see them as right-wing people, and you're saying they're liberals. Your right-wingers must be crazy as hell.
US is fake news too. Oh, we know that.
Most of us in the U.S. is fake news. That's true. Crazy loony left. Really? I thought they were
Wow.
right. Really, I didn't know they were left by their ideas and the way they talk. I didn't notice. Well, this month all they're doing is talking about Biden and how his mental capabilities are way out of pocket. Every
I don't know
speech he
about it.
does, it takes them a week to recover from it. They're right up the prime minister's butt. Okay.
So Prime Minister.
Randy, are you seeing my comments? No, Ed, I don't see your comments.
We just read this for nothing.
Somebody wrote a spam comment. View it. Randy, you hit the nail on the head. The bullshit going on the entire world. Yeah, that's true. I don't know why it hid your comment. We're adults.
Hit the nail on the head. Bullshit going on in the entire world. What?
Man, I had something going on. I'm surprised I'm not getting messages for it.
He's from Twitch.
Yeah, Timmer, he plays games at home. He's a good dude, man.
Cool. Hey, Lenore.
I met him on Twitch. Really cool guy.
How's it going? That's cool. Yeah, a lot of guys are leaving Twitch for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe the policy is different. I have no idea.
Okay, there was a message there. I just didn't see it. I got to respond.
Alrighty.
Jeeves, I'm going to cut it. Oh, what was that noise?
What noise?
Sound like something broke in my room.
Oh no.
I hope it wasn't important. I heard something crack and break.
Oh no. Better not be a table.
Table leg, maybe. The table falls over and breaks all my stuff, man.
Oh shit. No,
I
don't say
stream
that.
with my internet isn't screwing up. I hear you, Timmer. All right, Bernie, everybody, Jeep. I'm sorry, I got to go.
Yeah.
I just noticed
No,
I
I
had
gotta go
work to
too.
do,
Yeah,
and
me
I
too.
only noticed it now, man. It was
Okay.
sent to me at 8:30. That was 2 hours ago. I didn't see the message.
Oh dang. Okay,
Yeah.
take care.
Later, Jeeves. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah. No problem. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a good one. I've got to get things done. Oops, not good. Yeah, Colin, what's up? Yeah, I have something I got to take care of. Actually, the timing doesn't hurt. I never let things sit that long, so I need to get it done. All right. Oop, I better turn this off. All right, see you, folks.